What's up, Gator Nation? Welcome into the latest Rapid Reaction coming to you live from the Swamp following Florida's 48-20 win over the Kentucky Wildcats. Homecoming, and the Gators were able to get it done, get back on track after the loss at Tennessee last week, and most importantly, snap a 3-game losing streak to UK that if they would have lost tonight would have been the first time losing 4 in a row since Bear Bryant was the coach of Kentucky, which was quite a while ago.
Wild. Yeah, I remember after the game last year being like, I've never thought I would say lose to Kentucky. Then I never thought I would say losing streak. And then heading into this game, it was no coach had ever started their career 0-3 against Kentucky. The last time Kentucky had won 4 straight, so an entire graduating class didn't have a win over Kentucky, was right after World War II. I'm not sure who was on those teams as men better than us were returning from war. In 1948 through 51. This was a win Billy Napier had to have. Listen, we're not going to call it a rivalry game. I don't think we want it to get to the point.
It's a revenge game.
It was a
They said it.
I don't think you want to call it a rivalry game. You don't want to that. You save the rivalry for the basket for the hardwood. But a revenge game. 2 years in a row, Kentucky had blasted Florida.
Yeah.
Did whatever they want, won the lines of scrimmage, and I think tonight playing.
Florida won the line of scrimmage.
Listen,
crazy.
In a era where we've got 27-year-olds playing college football, 2 19-year-old kids lead the Florida offense tonight.
Against the number 3 defense in the country.
Yeah.
We had the stats. They had only allowed 14.5 points a game. Florida got that in the first half.
Yeah.
They had only given up 250 yards a game. Florida got that in the first half.
Kentucky was giving up 89.33 yards per game on the ground. Florida had that in the first quarter. Jaden Ball had more than that himself. DJ Lagway had half of that. Florida ran for $197 and lost a couple yards in the fourth quarter. They were up over the 2-bill mark for most of the game. This was just pretty much from start to finish, a dominant effort by Florida. Whatever Austin Armstrong, Ron Roberts, Billy Napier, Will Harris, Gerald Chapman, whatever they gave the defense during the bye week, bottle it, sell it, make yourself some money, put it towards NIL because the defense has been playing lights out.
Yeah, and I think offensively, Nick, you mentioned it, 2 true freshmen starting in the backfield for the Gators for the first time in program history. Mm-hmm. And, early on it looked like, okay, DJ's going to steal the show. He made the 2 big 50-yard bombs to Badger, and he made some more passes in the second half. But, as the game kept going on, you're just counting on your hands how many times ball kept finding the end zone. And before we knew it, he'd set the school record, tying Trey Burton's 2010 mark and the mark set by Tebow in 2007 against South Carolina when he went off. 5 rushing touchdowns. He didn't have a score all season coming into this game. He gets his first career start over a healthy Treon Webb, and Montrell Johnson was out. And I think everybody, including me, expected that Webb would get the nod because he was cleared, but they give it to Baugh. Webb didn't even see the field on Saturday night. Jacoby Jackson did get some carries, but it was the Jaden Baugh show, and rightfully so. Over 100 yards rushing. Florida made such an emphasis, I'm sure, on red zone offense this past week after squandering so many opportunities at Tennessee. And then they come out in their first 2 chances inside the 20. They have to kick field goals.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, here we go again. And then every time after that, all 5, they went to Jaden Baugh, and he delivered. Florida 7 for 7 in the red zone, 5 touchdowns. Kind of exercised those demons from last week.
Yeah, listen, it's tough. You have the same number of players with significantly less grass once you get down there. That's why it is a lot of coaches call it the green zone. It's where you make your money. Going into it, after the first 2, I'm like, Florida's only 9 of 14 scoring, and 5 of those are field goals. It's not what you want. I think at one point, listen, it's hard to draw up plays to scheme guys open passing in the end zone. Pete Carroll will tell you that. Probably should have given the ball to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. I think Billy looked after those first 2 drives and was just like, you know what? We've got a 6'0", 240-pound running back back there. Let's just try giving him the ball.
Yeah.
Ball.
Run the ball. And Badger made some big plays. DK made some plays as well in the passing game. But look, shout out to the defense, man. I know Baugh and Black were going to get all the attention, and rightfully so, but we can talk about the turnovers, which were huge, but 4 turnover on downs. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a game, that many turnover on downs. And then the goal line stand, huge moment in the game where it's still 13-6. I mean, they score right there. It's a tie game. It's anybody's ball game, and instead they get to stop. Florida scores on the ensuing possession. And as Billy pointed out when I asked him about it in the presser, that came out of Lagway's pick. So you put out the fire. And then in the second half, they come out and score on the opening drive. And it's a 1-score game. And everybody's maybe second-guessing Florida's decision there at the end of the first half, which we can get into. Obviously, it didn't matter. They scored 48 points. But then after that touchdown that Kentucky scored in the second half, the defense absolutely shut them down. 3 turnover on downs in the fourth quarter, and then the pick 6 by Corman McClain, one of 3 interceptions. And that was probably the coolest moment of the night, Nick, was that party in the end zone. That wasn't a celebration. That was a bench clearing for the defense.
Yeah, I mean, Cormani's difficulties have been well documented, whether it was at Colorado or when he first got here. I think Billy Napier has even alluded to that. He's got a lot of growing up to do. Billy Napier told him, like, hey, don't put a crown on his head yet. He has a lot of work to do. But I think from the time where he was rubbing people the wrong way when he first got here, to get that kind of reaction where you've got 40-plus guys running off the sidelines to go meet him and have a party in the north end zone like that. I asked Triquez Bridges, do you think your coach is going to let you slide on that unsportsmanlike penalty? He said he's got to. He's got to let us slide on that one. It just goes to show you, no one gave up on Corman. He didn't give up on himself. Just needed to continue maturing and growing. The talent has never been disputed with him. I think he'll still have a bright future here at Florida. But it was really cool to see his teammates, how they reacted to, because it was his Gator debut today.
First time.
Got in on an assisted tackle earlier in the game, and then just jumps that route. And there's nothing but green grass and Gator fans with their arms out saying, come to me. So really cool moment for him.
And it wasn't a fluke. He has the pass breakup in the end zone later in the fourth quarter that just shows why he was a 5-star recruit.
For sure.
And really cool moment for him to kind of have that with the defense. And this was what Florida needed. I think it was very easy for them coming off of how devastating that loss was at Tennessee to kind of fold this week or start to second guess where they were at, and the improvements that they had seemingly made. Those just continued on Saturday night. And this game played out a lot differently than I expected. Vegas expected. We all picked a game in the teens.
Yeah, I think our combined scores were just a little bit over what Kentucky was able to get on their own, but certainly less than Florida. Listen, I don't know what I'm doing. Vegas, the desert dwellers don't know Florida either. Florida was picked as a home dog to UCF, bounced them. Picked as a 15-point dog at Tennessee.
Should have won.
Outplayed Tennessee. Yeah. Picked as a home dog today. Drubbed Kentucky. If Florida's defense continues to play like this, and I think it was Billy mentioned about the team being a little embarrassed the way they had performed in the swamp. You got blown out by Miami. You got really kind of blown out by Texas A&M as well. And that they kind of took that personally. I think, for me at least, the offensive line and the defensive line, we're thinking back to the last 2 times they played this Kentucky team, because Florida's offensive line, I think, won the battle. Deion Walker, number 0 for Kentucky. I think before the game, I'm going to mess up the number, but he's a nose tackle and was averaging a tackle on 14% of the plays he's in. That's not what nose tackles do. Zach had a great video. He got his hand up on a pass, batted a pass down, and DJ Lagway had Elijah Badger in the end zone. Poor Elijah Badger, my guy, was just knocking on the door all night. And Jaden Baugh pushed him aside and said, excuse me, I'll be going in to the end zone for you. Could have had one there as well. That's a Sunday player, and that's somebody who Jake Slaughter, Najee Harris, I think Bryce Lovett got in the game as well, Damian George, those guys on the interior. Listen, he's going to make his plays, and he made a couple. But they did an exceptional job up front handling Kentucky.
Yeah, and shout out to Damian George because he got, I don't want to say pulled, but they ran their rotation and Bryce Lovett got several series.
Yeah.
With George out. George came back in the game and man, he had some blocks in the red zone to allow ball to get free for some touchdowns, and give them credit where it's due. Like, this offensive line has been a work in progress. Yep. They struggled to open up holes in the run game early on in the season. They're missing their starting running back tonight as well as their starting quarterback, and they really didn't miss a beat against one of the best defenses in the country and one of the best defenses just ever since Mark has been at Kentucky in the SEC. They're elite every single year, and I didn't expect Florida to put up 48 points.
Yeah.
You couldn't have convinced me that was going to happen tonight.
We ain't know how.
Yeah, to think that Florida could get a win, sure. And there was some negatives. You can't point to a lot. You give up the kick return. I mean, the defense only gave up 13 points because, 7 of those was on the special teams. You don't want to see that, but he also is one of the most talented kickoff returners in college football. Billy said it this week. Maybe he jinxed himself a little bit.
Marion Brown's nasty. That's an NFL player, too. He's little, but that's an NFL receiver, NFL special teamer.
And then we can talk about it now because it's irrelevant, but Napier makes a decision at the end of the first half with Florida up to basically just go into the locker room, not try to score on the last series. Some fans booed. What did you think about that decision, regardless of what the final result was? Because, I have my thoughts on it, but some weren't happy about it. Aaron Murray, who was the analyst tonight on SEC Network, from what I was told, absolutely ripped that decision by Florida. Yeah. But, again, it was inconsequential in the end.
Yeah, I see both sides. I get why fans are upset because it's not upset just in that moment. They're upset because it's a pattern and a history of questionable decisions by a head coach who, if he figures out a way to beat Georgia, they're going to be wondering, do we need to fire him still? But DJ was 4 of 11.
Yeah, at one point it was
for 135 at that point, but he was 4 of 11. He had already thrown a pick.
Had some other inaccurate throws.
You're trying to limit a catastrophe play. If there was a pick 6, then Kentucky gets the ball back, it's a whole different ball game. So, I get why he didn't do it. It's being risk adverse before halftime. I get it. It makes sense to me. I also get why fans who aren't, watching this one game in a bubble and are thinking back to the last 31 games, but it wasn't like DJ Lagway was 11 of 14.
Sure.
But the throws he makes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The throws he makes are sensational. And when you're 4 of 11 for $135, you're like, hey, just do that again and get 6 points. But you're not playing EA College Football 25 on freshmen.
Yeah, I think that when fans see his capability and the fact that he can push it downfield, complete 50-yard bombs, and you're trying to drive in minute and 30.
Yeah.
He could do that for you, but first SEC road start, you've got to lead. Your defense is playing really well. You don't need to press the issue and push the envelope. And again, if they would have come out in the second half, sat on that lead, did not play aggressive, got more conservative with the play calling, that would have been problematic. They obviously did not do that. They finished with 48 points. Figure out what their final total yardage was, 476 yards. That is not a lot to complain about with that. Again, this was the number 3 defense in the country. They'd shut down Georgia. They had shut down Ole Miss and that high-flying offense that Lane Kiffin has. So for Florida to, again, put up this much points, this much production with a true freshman quarterback and a true freshman running back, and then to have the running back have a record-setting night. This was a feel-good one for the Gators. A lot of demons that they exercise in the red zone against Kentucky, and then just in the swamp. Really 2 disappointing games to open the season with at home in front of your home crowd, and then to come back the last 2 times out here in front of these guys against UCF and now against Kentucky. This is what fans want to see. This is what Gator Nation wants to see '84 team was back Saturday night. That was cool to see them all throughout the stadium, and they did not have to show back up to watch a Kentucky win. That would have been not the way to honor these guys. So they get it done. The Gators get it done. We are done for at least a week. We get a bye.
Yeah, we'll have a ton of stuff in the coming weeks. And Zach, it's basketball season, baby. A little secret scrimmage today. So basketball season is getting going. But yeah, last bye week, and then that this 5-game stretch that we've been talking about, which seems like for years now at this point. Georgia, Texas played each other today. Aaron Murray probably cooled himself down after yelling about Billy Napier's first half decision when you check that Georgia-Texas score. And then you get LSU, who looks fantastic, wondering how they even lost to USC, who I think is 0-5 since starting 2-0. And then, listen, Guy, I see you there. I know you have those over slips on 4.5. I've watched FSU enough, baby. I think that over 4.5 is good. I don't know if you can cash it yet, but I think it's going to cash.
Yeah. This was critical for Florida to get a win tonight. Now they enter the bye week 4-3 on the season. A chance to rest some guys up. Unfortunately, there was some injuries that came out of this game. Jason Marshall Jr. left with an injury, and it looks like his arm. He came back out with his arm in a right sling. It looked like a dislocated shoulder from what we saw and seemed to hear from folks that were watching on TV, but no answers from Billy tonight, if you guys can imagine. But we'll find out more. We'll have a bunch of stories coming out of this game throughout the rest of the weekend. We'll have more coverage of for you guys throughout the bye week. We'll hear from Todd Golden as well next week, so stay tuned for that. And next time that we join you guys, it will be to preview the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, which I will never stop calling it that. So hope you guys enjoyed tonight's game. For Nick Del Torre, I'm Zach Abolverdi. We'll see you guys later.